fine with just doing that if that's your preference.
Okay.
Would you say that's your preference over like the second part or the first part?
I mean, I just feel like we're going in circles. That's why, like, the explanation that you gave me on stage, from what you're saying now, is the explanation that you gave me on stage, that you're explaining now, is that you were in the moment, and the explanation that you're giving on the couch, I don't.
Those aren't mutually exclusive. That's what I'm saying. So you're saying circles, so they're both spirals. A spiral is when we're going back and we're going to a point.
All right, that's fine.
So it's
we can say they're spirals. That's okay. Yeah. The explanation that you're giving me on stage, is an explanation that you're giving me on the couch. I'm trying to make sense of both of them, and it's not making sense to me. We're going in spirals, and sometimes I feel if the person is just repeating the same points that I'm not understanding, then that's not going to go anywhere.
But that's not true, because you did that in this conversation. And the second you did it and you changed one little thing, you provided an understanding. So that happens. So so to be clear, when I'm coming from communication, like, I'm not coming from some random, bullshit stuff. Like, I'm coming from a place of, this is something that I had some experience in terms of the structure of a communication. So that's why, even though people in general, people don't talk like this because they don't need this much of an understanding. We don't need it for here, but I think it would be valuable to us to have that level of understanding. And since we have the time to do it, not necessarily right now, but we have the time as a whole. So it's important that the accountability for how we can move forward in a conversation isn't to say, hey, this is what you're doing. Like you said, in terms of like, hey, you're just repeating the same things. It's like recognizing that nobody wants to be unreasonable. So nobody's just repeating the same thing over and over again, not differently. They're just saying something that sounds like the same thing because it's not resonating in a way that's providing new information. So that's when we can communicate that and say like, hey, it feels like you're repeating. I understand that you actually are making different changes each time. It feels like you're repeating. Is there something else we can try? And then we try that something else, and then we try that something else, because there are dozens and dozens and dozens of ways that we can figure out alterations of style and order to create better understanding. So I think that's why I would ask, is that you don't just assume that, like, I'm not a crazy person who's just going to repeat the same sentence, and I'm not going to assume that about you. So if you don't assume that about me, then you can assume instead, hey, he's trying to communicate something, it's not working. You can let me know like you are, and then I can say, I'm so sorry.